This is Paul. Yes, in Spence. 103 Washington. The Court of Appeals upheld the issuance of a protection order where the petitioner did not allege a recent overt act of domestic violence. The petitioner, who had been victimized by the respondent for a period of years, was granted the order based on her current fears, even though most of the overt acts of domestic violence occurred 5 years before the filing of the petition. Now, since she was a victim for years of domestic violence, didn't Heidi say the same thing? Yes, we went through a foreclosure. Right, we were on welfare. Yes, we lived in the Guma, San Jose. Yes, and we lived there twice. And my husband, he wouldn't get a job, but I was employed on Guam. Yes. There's no possible way that women could actually abuse the protection order. Yes, to intentionally keep a man from his sons. Yes. Now, I personally want to divorce my wife, and I mentioned that when there was no notice of court hearings, yes, no disillusion to myself, was the excuse was, well, he'll just have to go get it for himself, because as a court, we have no obligations. We don't have the obligation to realize that after 5 years, there wasn't some sort of healing of the emotional trauma of the experience. I mean, the appellate court gives everything to women. Now, you've got to be fucking stupid. Really, you upheld that. Now, I don't know what their relationship was, and if she was really abused, yes, then there might be a question, but after 5 fucking years, she should have started. Oh no, the appellate court. What? Ooh. Now, I think that the grounds for the issuance of domestic violence protection orders, yes, 5 years. The final orders, yes, superior courts and courts of limited jurisdiction have concurrent jurisdiction to issue protection orders in most situations. Yes. However, a final order cannot be issued by a court of limited jurisdiction. Yes. When a superior court has exercised or is exercising jurisdiction over a proceeding under RCW 26 or RCW 13.34 involving the parties. Now, I know that Judge Ken Williams, the Superior Court judge, did exercise jurisdiction over the issuance of the first protection order. Right. When I wasn't a resident of Washington State. Yes. When I couldn't travel. Yeah. When I was a victim of domestic violence. Yes. Now, did Court Commissioner Brent Baisden, did he actually have the authority to reissue the protection order when you arrested me and served me the dissolution of marriage at the same time? Well, petition for relief presents issues of residential schedule of and contact with the children of the parties. Yes. Now, when Superior Court Judge Rohrer, yes, issued the dissolution of marriage in 2012, where our marriage certificate is from the United Nations, and you didn't want me to tell you that you didn't have reciprocity with the United Nations? Yes. I provided the evidence of family law in Kosovo and that we have to dissolve the marriage. Seems that a certificate issued from the United Nations does have to be invalidated. Yes. But the court doesn't listen to what the fucking law says. Now, was there anything in that dissolution of marriage about a residential schedule of and contact with the children of the parties? Ouch. You were going to say that I was crazy and there was no fucking way that you were ever going to enforce the laws of the United States. Oh, do you have jurisdiction to dissolve a United Nations marriage? Yes. Did you give me notice of hearings? Did you allow for me to know what the actual documentation said before you issued the dissolution of marriage? And when the mail was returned unclaimed on February 13th? Yes. Was there anything about a residential schedule or the parenting plan? Ouch. And then there's a petition for relief requested the court to exclude a party from the dwelling which the parties share. Yes. I noticed that when you issued that protection order, she took every fucking thing I own. Yes, I thought it was theft after a certain number of years. Ooch. When you don't give an individual notice and hearing to get their own personal belongings, and you decide you're going to give every fucking thing I have to my wife without me being a resident of Washington State, Pooch, you gave her all my business files. Yes, you gave her all my personal documents. Everything that I had left with my sister and Sandra Taylor before we moved to Guam. Ooch. You decided to give to Heidi without any notice or hearing to myself. Now I'm thinking when it's, well, what right do I have to my belongings? I have to motion a court that violates my civil rights when you issue a court order where I wasn't a resident and I couldn't travel to Washington State? Then you continue to reissue it without any actual jurisdiction of law, and for some stupid fucking reason you think that I have to motion the fucking court.